And we are now live, so everyone can hear you now. Greetings, everybody. Hello, hello, and hello. We are back for another session of Dungeons and Dragons. Announcements this week. Nothing much really. I've been doing a lot of thinking about my content and where I'm taking it and what I want to do with it. So have finally made a solid decision about the Twitch content. So the Twitch channel is pretty much going to be dedicated solely to Dungeons and Dragons. So any content that I stream on Twitch will be Dungeons and Dragons related. There'll be zero gaming involved on Twitch. I am still considering doing some gaming streams at some point. What those games will be and when that will be, I have still yet to sort of make any final sort of decisions. But I am in the process of looking at what platform I will be streaming that to, whether I decide to maybe jump back to Mixer and do the gaming streams on Mixer, or maybe look at Facebook Gaming or YouTube. But I'm going to look into a range of different platforms to see sort of what would be best suited. There was a Twitter post. I've got to discuss it because I had an opinion on it, and I messaged it, and I'm probably going to get crucified for it, but I don't really give a shit. I speak my mind. Everyone knows that. Harris Heller, a YouTuber that I watch quite frequently, he's part of the Alpha Gaming channel, does a lot of advice stuff on streaming hardware and streaming software. He has been a full-time content creator for 6 years, part-time for 10 years prior to that, and is an audio engineer. He's a musician, he's a YouTuber, he's a Twitch streamer. He's streamed on pretty much every platform that's available out there, and his community hit him up and asked about streaming platforms and which is the best place to stream. So while he didn't say this is the best place to stream and you should stream here, he did focus on Mixer, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook, and ran through some pros and cons on all of those platforms. The moment he called out Mixer and saying that Mixer was more saturated than Twitch, and that Mixer was Mixer's current partners and that aren't really calling Mixer out, and Mixer's not really doing anything to helping their communities and things like that, and he got absolutely raked over the coals by Mixer partners and the like, which kind of amuses me because I'm formerly of Mixer. I started my full-time streaming career on Mixer, which I enjoy Mixer. I think Mixer's an awesome place. But the thing is with Mixer, and I agree with Harris in this respect, that the Mixer community is small, therefore it is a lot more friendly. We do know this. I agree with that. Mixer's staffing issues are a big problem. Mixer's video quality has been a big problem. The consistency of service has been a major issue for quite some time. I had more downtime on Mixer than I've had on any other platform that I've streamed to. And as a general rule, Mixer's just not growing like it should because their focus is solely on their partners and not on anybody else. They're putting so much focus on their partners, and their partners get information, but no one else gets any information. There's no support there. I wrote an email to the support when I was having issues when I was still over there, and I got an automated email back, and I never heard from them again. And that happened on several occasions. Whereas when I have an issue here on Twitch, if I have a problem technically or otherwise, I email Twitch, I get an email back within an hour. I get an automated email within minutes, and then I get an actual email from an actual person within an hour saying, hey, look, this is potentially what the problem is. These are the steps you can take to fix it. And if that still isn't solved, I'll write them another email back, and the communication is just 100% better. But again, I love Mixer as a platform, and I would stream back there in a heartbeat if they solved a few of these issues. I have been watching them, and they have solved a lot of the issues that I have had in the past, which is awesome. But for the time being, Twitch is a better place for me to be streaming this particular content because there is definitely a higher market for it and a higher viewership for it. I've built a pretty solid, albeit small, but I've built a pretty good, solid community over here, and I'm not willing to risk moving again to screw with that community right now. So this little community that we've built here and continuing to build will stay here. So what I'm going to look at doing is separating my gaming from my D&D stuff and build a gaming community, maybe back on Twitch, who knows, back on Mixer, but we'll see. But so I was kind of impressed to see there were some Mixer partners supporting Harris and others just basically calling him an idiot, and it's like, well, how can you? And yet they were offering no contrary statistics. He offered statistics which were legitimate statistics from a legitimate website to say that Mixer's growth is low. And these people are going, oh, your statistics are all wrong, and yet they weren't offering any kind of proof or any kind of substantial statistics or facts to back themselves up. So you got to be careful of that. If you've got an opinion about something, make sure people know it's your opinion. But if you want to really give someone shit about what they've said, make sure you got facts to back it up. Because if you don't got facts to back it up, you just make yourself look like an idiot. So with that rant out of the way, let's get back into the real world. Kidding, fantasy world of D&D with a recap from last week. Unless anyone else got anything to say? No other announcements? You players aren't hiding anything from me this week? You're not going to spring another murder on me by any chance? I mean,
well, funny you
Yeah,
should say that.
well,
We'll see if Het wakes up this week.
Yanti might be a black widow.
A murder hobo. Did you not know that yet?
So, with that, let's revisit the world of Paradigm, and let's do our yeah, I'm not even interested in talking about that, Drax. That shit just pisses me off. But anywho, let's get back into the real world of D&D, because that's what we're all about here. So, you're still waiting in Holland for the envoy to arrive. Bash reveals some information about the Tomb of Horrors during a sit-down and a bit of a eat and drink. The name Acererak was mentioned along with traps and puzzles and the fact that it is a pretty scary place. Well, it was to him. Him and whoever else he went in there with got lost for a time due to the nature of the place. Inari discovers also too during that conversation that she remembers the name Acererak, and again information was culminated about the tomb. Potential demi-lich, beholder, all manner of things. During that morning, Sadiq and Fiela decide to relieve Inari from her position down in the basement, and revealing something to Sadiq, then informing him that she intended on ending Namaris's life. Her reasons for doing so seemed reasonable, and so Sadiq agreed that that was probably the best course of action. So Fiela descends to the basement, discusses with Namaris whether she wanted peace, drawing her weapon, climbing onto the bed with her, giving her a friendly hug. With this, Namaris does cry out, and whether it was reactionary or intentional, who knows. Bash, hearing this, heads over to the basement, pushes his way past Sadiq, get to the bottom of the stairs, only to turn and watch as Fiela draws her blade across Namaris's throat, opening a deep laceration, covering the bed and the floor with blood. Bash then, in shock, sort of reels backwards, head at the top of the stairs, not sure entirely what Bash is up to, trying to command him to kneel. Descending the stairs, thinking maybe the spell has worked, as Bash drops his weapon, again to be greeted with this gruesome sight. In anger, shock, and confusion, both Het and Bash then leave the inn. On the outskirts of town, Bash lets out a primal roar of frustration while Het expels everything he has. From there, back at the inn, things sort of weird, nervous, somewhat sullen, of course. Fiala retreats to her room. Sadiq, respecting Namaris as a soldier and a warrior, wraps her in the bedding, ties her up into a neat package, if you will, and removes her body and places it on a cart outside. Later on, with Sadiq and Inari and Alessandros all sitting drinking, Alessandros says that Namaris was lucky. Not entirely sure what this entirely means, but Alessandros believes that Namaris is the lucky one to not have to no longer be a part of this world. After a few hours, however, Het then spies the envoy from Villand and greets them as they enter the small town. Het then leads them towards the inn, albeit on the scenic route, telepathically sending a message to the group asking them to get rid of Namaris's body at all costs. Sadiq, drunk but generally able to be in control of his faculties somehow, then takes Namaris's body in the cart out to the outskirts of town where the villagers had previously were in the process of finishing up the burning of the bodies of the bandits from the previous incursion. Places her on the pyre and sits and watches as Namaris's body is cremated. Finally reaching the inn, however, Alatar, the cleric that came with the group, is suspicious of the Lions of Villand, interrogates most of you, and then shackles all of you, trying to figure out what is going on. With that, however, after a bit of discussion and a bit of back and forth, none of you gave up that Fiala was in fact the one that had murdered Namaris, even though Alatar seemed to know. After a short time, he revealed his true intentions, and that he was a member of the Enclave, and that the Enclave pretty much know all. Letting you know that he will inform Quorum that Namaris has expired through some other means, and then, after gathering all of you together, proceeds to show you a vision, a group vision, if you will, which this vision sends you all back to the city of Arnis, where Het is from and his family. You find yourselves in the town square, and with that, in front of you all is Kosis, the Dark Paladin, which you came to realize was Namaris, Asmodeus as well, and Cass the Vampire. The Dark Paladin then proceeds to systematically execute its family. Het cries out. After the vision clears, you then transported back to your bodies in the Inn of Villand. Het is obviously devastated, removes himself to his room, destroys his room in the process, and with that is just not himself. After some discussion downstairs, Alatar decides to leave, head back to wherever he came from, assuming Villand, urging the group to rally together, rally around Het, make sure that he stays on the path of righteousness. More discussions are had. Fiala goes up to talk to Het, calm him down, and brings him back downstairs. And with that, Het then reveals the true nature of his familiar, Kilek, which was, he thought, a spider. Turns out to be a small imp that could perform a number of tasks. You all then decide to retire for the evening before setting out towards the tomb to collect the items you are on mission to find. Everyone returns to their respective rooms, all except for Het, whose room is an absolute disaster zone. Fiala invites Het to her room and to learn some Elvish. And this is where we rejoin the Lions of Elond as they awake the next morning and start episode 39 of Paradigm Bolt.
And hey, Grunt, yes, we are live.
Grunt, we are, dude. Grunt, he came in when I was doing a rebroadcast of the Curse of Strahd campaign last week. So, yes, this is live. This is a different campaign than the one you were watching on the rerun, but we are live. So, the Lions, you are awakening the next morning. You are rested. Those of you that had any exhaustion, I think, yeah, your exhaustion would be gone by now. You guys have pretty much spent a whole 24 hours resting, not really doing a hell of a lot. So anyone that had those levels of exhaustion would be fine. You're back to full health and fitness. So the day is yours. It's probably early morning. As you all sort of descend the stairs coming down to the inn to get breakfast, Thrimmen's nowhere to be seen. The fire's still sort of embery. It's not burning. You could easily chuck a few small logs on it to get it burning again, but doesn't seem to be anyone around. Excuse me.
I'll go downstairs and get something to eat before that thing that we have to do. I'm going downstairs.
I'll join her.
Speak up, Nutty.
I said, I'll join him.
It is taking some time to get his armor back on. Leather doesn't take too long, thankfully. And he asked Fiala, or says to Fiala, that was some excellent Elven.
Why, thank you.
Are you hungry for breakfast?
Yeah. Yeah, I have an appetite now. I'll go down and grab some coffee.
Okay, I will be not long to join you. It takes me a while to get this leather on over all the spiny bits.
I'm gonna help you put your leather on. Hang on. And I help.
You can help. It'll take literally, it'll halve the time. If you were to aid Het in putting his armor on, it'll halve the time it takes to don your armor.
Het is thankful. Shall we? And he extends his hand to lead down to the tables where we eat.
Right. Off we go then.
So, Sadiq, are you awoken? You were pretty drunk, so...
I think I'm going to sleep in a little bit.
Okay, so you're going to remain in your room for the time being. So with that, the rest of you sort of make your way downstairs. And as I said, Thrimmen doesn't seem to be around anywhere. You could probably pretty much help yourself to making coffee and start getting something organised for breakfast. Is anyone going to go to the kitchen and start some form of breakfast at this point?
I can do that.
So, Nara, are you going to do that? I was going to make a perception roll, but you probably really don't need to. But from as you go through into the kitchen, and the kitchen's a pretty good sized sort of kitchen. There's a wood stove there that you can cook on, and you can sort of see the larder and everything's there. But there's like a sacking curtain to one side as you go through into the kitchen, and from behind that curtain, you can hear a loud snoring. And And you sort of poke your head through the curtain, and there's Thrimmin sort of half on the bed, half on the floor, still fully clothed, drool plastering his bed to one side of his face, and he is still passed out drunk. Like, he's got a bottle of whiskey in one hand, which looks like it's pretty much empty.
Okay, I'm gonna go in, put the bottle to one side, and try and get him back into his bed.
It wouldn't take too much, I don't think. Because he's a dwarf. I mean, you're an elven. He's pretty. I suppose make a strength check anyway. He's pretty heavy for a dwarf, and he's dead weight.
18.
So it takes you about 10 or 15 minutes, but you were able to remove the bottle from his hand, and then sort of half by, not so much lift him, but sort of half by roll him onto his bed.
And then, as a kind of afterthought, I look to see if there's any form of bucket or something I can put under the bed head of the bed. Just
Anara, you know enough about dwarves to know that he's not going to get sick.
Okay.
He's just passed out. He's not drunk. Like, he's not that drunk, but he's just typical dwarven behavior. They'll sleep for ages after having a good night. So
Well,
then you head back into the kitchen.
I'm just gonna raffle around in the cupboards to see what there, and I'll probably what is there to cook.
There's a range of dried meats. If you sort of look around, it takes a little while. You find there's a door at the back. If you open that back door up, you'll see that fresh game has been laid out outside. It's been, obviously, the Thrimmin has an agreement with someone, or the hunter, like a local hunter or something. But there's a couple of fresh carcasses. There's a pig and a deer hanging outside. So as you know, Het eats raw meat, so you're able to get some raw meat for him if you wish. But there's a range of different breads in the larder. There's some dried meats. There's looks like duck eggs available there as well.
Awesome. I am
And
going
a few other bits and pieces, like different
mine
herbs and
in a
spices and
cook-off.
stuff.
and do a big platter of varying bits and pieces.
Roll a survival check.
I'm going to poison everybody. I think a 3.
A 3? Wow.
Elf.
Do you check your feats and traits? I'm not sure as a ranger whether you actually have it, but don't know if you do.
I'm going to wander in and give Inari a hand.
Okay,
Oh,
so
okay.
make that roll at advantage then. So roll it again.
13.
Better. I mean, it's not great food. I mean, you've not really done a lot of cooking. I mean, as a soldier, you've cooked on the side of the road and things like that, but you've not done a lot of you've not done a lot of a la carte cooking per se, or any kind of breakfast or anything like that. Normally, it's provided for you. So you do okay. It looks serviceable. You bring it out and you hand it out. The coffee. You guys have now in front of you a range of dried meats. Looks like there's probably some fried duck eggs, maybe a bit of scrambled duck eggs. I've
tried frying them and failed.
There's kind of a mixture of kind of fried eggs and kind of scrambled eggs. A bit of a, if you really screw up a fried egg and it kind of half by scramble it, that's pretty much it. Raw meats there for you, Het. And a big pot of steaming hot coffee. Everyone who tries the food will need to make a Constitution saving throw for me.
Het will only eat the raw substance, but
you won't have to make a con save, but everyone eats the cooked food and or drinks the coffee will need to make a con save.
13.
Sadiq?
Sadiq's still asleep.
He's asleep.
Okay. Oh, this is gonna hurt. This is gonna hurt bad.
We got a 9 and a 13 and a 5. Okay,
Oh.
Inari, you taste the coffee and you sort of make that face like you're gonna throw up, but you swallow it because you made it. And it's terrible. It is bad coffee. Fiala, you taste the coffee and that same thing, you sort of get it into your mouth and you think, oh my god, that is fucking horrible. But to be polite, as you generally are, you swallow it.
It's
You
a
put
strong blend.
Alessandros, you're less than cordial when it comes to these things. You try the coffee and instantly spit it everywhere. The moment it touches your tongue, it's like, ooh, that's disgusting, and you spit it out.
So with that, I promptly get up, take the coffee mug, the jug, back in the kitchen, and make some coffee.
You roll a survival check.
I look at Fiala and I'm like, was it as bad as what I thought? Or you just being nice?
Perfect coffee. 25.
Oh shit! Yes, your coffee is far better than Anari's coffee.
It says, Inari, this raw meat is cooked to perfection. You have done a wonderful job. Thank you.
You're welcome. I think I'll stick to the roaster.
But yeah, so tasting the food. Who tasted the food?
Me.
Another survival, another con save for the food, guys.
Oh, a natural friggin' one.
Nat 1, guys. Don't forget, chat, Nat 1s and Nat 20s. Roll those emotes out. If you're not a subscriber, you can still use emotes by using your channel points to unlock an emote to use. So if you want to spam the Nat 1 or Nat 20 when it's rolled, use your channel points, click on the little thing at the bottom left and buy an emote. Costs you virtually nothing, and to get channel points, all you do is watch. So with a natural 1, Anari, you you dish yourself up some dried meat, which can't really fuck up dried meat. It tastes pretty good. You grab a forkful of the eggs, and there is that much salt in there, and I don't think the eggs were quite right, and they are foul, and you almost instantly vomit into your mouth. Alexandros, what'd you roll?
18.
18. You don't even put it in your mouth. You pick it up, and just the smell alone, you can tell there's way too much salt in this, and there's bits of shell, and it's not the right color for eggs. So you don't even put it in your mouth. Fiala, what was your roll?
I also rolled a nat 1 plus 2, which is 3. So I chew on the crunchy bits of my eggs. Like,
So another natural
no.
1, guys. That's 2 tonight.
Another way
Posture
before
check
the
as well,
battle.
guys. So yes, so natural, another natural 1. So Fiala, yes, you take a big forkful of eggs. You're hungry. You've had a good workout during the evening, learning teaching Elvish. So you're exceptionally hungry, and you take a big forkful of these eggs and just crunch into bits of shell, really salty, and it is really horrible. Those eggs were off.
Does Hit notice the eggs are not cooked that well?
You'd probably smell it before anyone even put it in their mouths, to be honest.
Hit puts his finger in some not cooked egg and shell and tries a bit.
Yeah, it's not good at all.
It's raw meat.
Hit's raw meat's perfect. But that egg hit is horrible.
It sure is. I rolled a natural 1 just to see what would happen.
Yes, you put it in your mouth, and yeah, almost again vomit inducing. So I would say with the 3 natural 1s, guys, the night, Hit, Fiala, and Anari, you guys are looking for a bucket.
Sorry.
Amari, this raw meat is perfection, but whatever that is not. That is horrid. I wonder if maybe you should not cook again.
I agree with that.
Okay.
All right, so with that, I'm going to go back into the kitchen and try and prepare what's left. Salvage the breakfast.
Hit is going to go and get the horse and carts. He cannot stomach anymore.
So with that, you eat or drink what you can. The eggs get removed from the table from whoever decides to remove them, or if you leave them there, it's up to you.
I'll remove them and go make a fresh batch. Maybe.
So you go. The moment you head into the larder, you can smell. You can smell some of those eggs are cracked, and those duck eggs have been there for quite some time. Some of them even have mold growing on the top of them. That's how long they've been there. So you just rattle through some stuff, and by the looks of it, there's not a lot of fresh ingredients left in the larder. A lot of it's old. The dried meat seems to be about the only decent sort of palatable thing that's there.
I'll probably cut up some of the fresh stuff and cook it.
Okay. And with that, you have that will give you your day's worth of rations. So you don't have to mark off rations. You've had a reasonable breakfast. I'd say Sadiq, after about sort of an hour or so, where these guys are sort of having their issues with breakfast, you probably then surface yourself, feeling a little hungover, a little headachy. Nothing too serious though. And you sort of come down. The smell of strong coffee definitely greets you, because you are definitely looking for something that's other than alcohol at this point. And you probably see a few green faces as you come downstairs as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna come downstairs, grab a big jug of coffee and start drinking that, and then grab a loaf of bread and start chewing on that.
Would you like me to make you some eggs, Sadiq?
Those eggs look worse
I'm
than
quietly
I-
looking at Sadiq, shaking, no, saying nothing, just shaking my head, no.
Yeah, so Alessandros is sort of one side just doing this to you, it's like, don't eat them, no.
Yeah, no, I just go, no. Yeah, those eggs look the same color as me. I've worked out that if it looks the same color as me, I don't.
Well said. So with that, you have your breakfast, you have your coffee, you pretty much the day is yours, guys. You've whatever you want to do is up to you. Discussions ready for the day's journeys, I guess.
Hit went out the door to get fresh air and asked if anyone wanted to join him to get the horse and carts, because he feels like we are maybe in need of heading to this this area where Bash has given us the map to.
Come give him a hand if you want.
Excellent. While Sadiq eats, we shall gather the horses and cart. How many do we have? I forget.
Two horses.
Yeah, two horses in your covered wagon. Your covered military style wagon.
After trying a bit of that egg and nari, maybe the horse is looking more tempting.
Was it really that bad? Yes, it really was. You don't need to tell me.
Yes, you answered your own question.
Mhm.
But yes, come and help me. We'll be back soon, team. We just get the mounts and the wagon.
I'm going to
Alrighty.
start chatting along to Oasis and Elvish, because he's been learning Elvish.
What do you say to him in Elvish?
How's the lessons been going there, Hit?
So hit.
Uh-oh.
Don't let me down.
Hit roll a intelligence check for me. I think that would be what you'd roll for this. I'm not entirely sure. Yes, intelligence.
That is a 9.
You understand some of it. So what did you specifically ask him? How the Elvish was going?
How are the Elvish lessons going?
What you got out of that was how Elvish and going. You didn't really understand anything else.
Hit replies in broken Elvish as best he can, and what he says is, elvish looking dog good.
I just look at him and raise my eyebrow and say in Draconic, are you sure she's teaching you the correct language?
Het reverts back to common and says, well, the problem is Het is learning a few different things. He's learned Halfling, he's got Draconic, we've got Common. It does take a little time to learn some. Elvish is a lot harder on my tongue. The grunts and noises we make for Draconic is much harder than what you elves use for Elvish. As you can understand, you are an elf.
I nudge him and give him a wink and say, all right then. I'm not silly.
But you can't cook.
No. I can't cook. Never said I could.
So my Elvish needs work, your cooking needs work. We can agree on that.
That sounds like a plan. I'll say nothing.
If it's any consolation, I don't like cooked food anyway, so it's not a hassle.
And with that, you guys proceed to the livery and organize the horses and start getting the cart ready for your travels. Meanwhile, back at the inn, we have Sadiq and Fiela and Alessandros sort of finishing up, eating, drinking some coffee, and maybe clearing things away. Is there anything you guys would wish to discuss or joining Het and Inari?
No, I'm good.
I guess we're gonna pack up and get ready to go.
God, you guys are boring.
I know. I want to say so much, but I can't find words.
So you guys you just potter around quietly. Sadiq is probably still a little hungover and is a lot quieter than normal.
Then in that case, while
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
putting stuff away and making loud noises while I'm doing it.
Make a perception check to see if you realize how hungover he is. I mean, you know he's had a fair amount to drink, but want to see if you realize exactly sort of how hungover he is, whether you would know to do that or not.
I wouldn't know at all.
What was your roll?
10.
Yeah, no, he just looks green, like he always does. Bit grumpier than usual, but apart from that, he doesn't really look like that. You wouldn't know to make exceptionally loud noises at this stage. But with that, yes, Fiona.
I was gonna slap him on the back and say, "How you doing this morning?"
I'm gonna slap her back on the back as well and go, pretty good. Yourself?
Fine.
How hard do you slap her on the back? Like, or just a regular orcish hard, or a little bit harder?
Yeah.
For...
Well, pretty much I'd be going, like, trying to match the same strength as she would,
Okay.
but at the same time, I'm not as finesseful, so it'd probably be a little bit up.
So let's say, yeah, your reaction would be pretty warrantable, Fiona. He's got a hand probably twice the size of yours, and it almost covers your entire upper back as he slaps you, like, not intentionally to hurt you, but it's enough that it sort of shunts you forward a little bit, almost takes your breath away.
Okay.
And with that,
And at the same time, I look at her and I go, and also, I don't think that's how you teach Elvish.
What are you talking about? I don't know what you mean, Sadiq.
Right.
Why? Did you hear anything?
That's all I could hear until you stopped.
So you're learning as well. See, we all learn.
and with that, you will collect your things and head out towards the stables to meet Inari and Het, who by this time have got the horses hitched. Your wagon is ready to travel. You guys stocked up the day before with what you could from this town that had been pretty much raped of all its resources for the time being. As you sort of move out to the cart, a halfling man sort of scuttles across the town square, which you recognize as Frodin, and he sort of comes out and he says, morning, are you getting ready to head off? I wish you luck at your travels. You were heading to the tomb, were you not?
Yes, if we were.
Well, best of luck. I hope you know where the entrance is. I've heard it's notoriously hard to find. But all the best, and just know that you will always have a place to stay here in Holland if you are in need. We are very grateful for your aid, and we wish you, again, all the best. He sort of comes around each one of you and sort of reaches up and grabs your hand and shakes your hand as he sort of moves around the group.
I love Frodin.
And with that, he sort of toddles off and sort of heads up towards the inn. Right, guys, it's fairly early morning, so you're probably looking about 9ish, 8:30, 9ish in the morning. The sun is not high in the sky, it's sort of just sort of over the horizon, but it's clear. It's a nice day. No real clouds in the sky on this day. It's not warm yet, it's still quite dewy and cold, but it's shaping up to be a relatively warm day. Now,
a good day to die then, yes?
That is an odd thing to say, Ellie. It is never a good day to die. There has been far too much death amongst us.
Yes. I'm going to also pull out the note that Bash had and show everyone so that they're aware of where the real entrance to the cave is.
and again, just to remind you guys, the note that Bash left has a fairly detailed sort of a sketch of where the tomb is, roughly where it is in relation to Holland. So, it sort of says you need to travel approximately half a day, and then you'll find a large hill with a flat top, and the entrance is on the opposite side. And it's given you sort of a rough idea, and it shows you two entrances on either side that have big crosses with them, and there's an entrance in the center that it says partially caved in, and that's got a sort of a big tick by it.
Are we getting in the wagon?
Yeah, why not?
Would you like me to drive the wagon today?
Yes. I think I'll just sit beside you instead.
Excellent. Het climbs up into the driver's seat of the wagon and grabs the reins.
And Sadiq joins him. The rest of you pile into the back. Het, animal handling check for me, please.
Hold on tight, everyone. That is a dirty 20.
And with that, and a almighty sort of almost like a whip cracking sound as Het flicks the reins to get the horses going, you're off. And traveling at a pretty good pace. Not fast, but your 2-horse drawn wagon. I mean, you need 2 horses drawn because it is fairly heavy wagon compared to other carts and wagons around, being a military style wagon. But you are moving at a pretty good pace. With the horses and cart, you're probably going to cut that time in half. So you guys are probably going to get to this hill on this map in probably a couple of hours, maybe just 2.5 hours.
Het commands Kalek to turn into it pulls him forth from the void, and then commands him to turn into a raven and fly above us, about 50 feet above, keeping an eye from the air to let us know if there's any other dangers.
Duly noted. Sadiq, you see this? You're sitting right next to him. The rest of you in the back,
I-
it's fairly comfortable.
Yeah, when Head does that, I kind of look across and go, that really is cool.
Thank you. His voice is rather irritating, however, so thankfully he only speaks when I make him.
The rest of you in the back, you're getting bumped around a little bit. You're going a little bit faster than you were traveling to Holland, but it's still comfortable. And Hit and Sadiq, I'll get you both to make a perception check for me for the travel. We're not going to spend too much time on the road today, so we'll do it for the whole 2 hours.
Hit draws forth his compass while he's making this check and says, "So, which direction are we headed, Sadiq?"
Crap. I don't
17.
On the map, I will show you where you are heading.
know. And I got 11 on the perception.
17 for Hit.
Right, so from where you are, ladies and germs, you are looking on your screens there. You will see that on the township of Holland, you need to be heading north east, I think.
Compass.
I don't have a compass.
It has a compass.
No, it has a
Hit
compass.
said he got it out.
Yep. So
And the
you know
compass?
the road. You're on the road leading north out of Holland. You know that much, and you know that you need to follow the road and then turn off the road, and maybe an hour or two to head to a little bit more to the east, the north and a northeasterly, north, south, east, west. Yeah, northwest. Sorry. Never eat soggy. No, northeast. I'm right. I was right the first time. Never eat soggy Weet-Bix, people.
Our watermelons, whichever way you like to get.
No, never
So,
eat soggy
Sadiq-
Weet-Bix.
That looks like northeast, Sadiq. And Hit is holding his compass in one hand and the reins in the other, as comparing the map. Not really looking at the road at this point.
With a dirty 20, you'd pretty much letting the horses do whatever they want, and they're just following their noses. They're just doing what they're supposed to do.
Just remember, we got to go to the backside of that hill.
So what were your perception checks, guys?
Hit was 17 and I was 11.
Correct.
So combined check. You are traveling on a really fairly well travelled road. You passed the position of where you turned off to go to where the mage was situated. You carry on past that. You notice that the trees around here, some of them has been a big section cleared. You assume that that's part of the township's economy as well, as lumber. So looks like there's been a big section cleared, and it looks like there's been trees replanted as well. You just see small saplings starting to regrow, and they've probably been there probably a little while, but you'll assume that maybe something magical's been used as well, because they weren't there the last time you came through here. So you'd assume that there's some form of magic to help things grow a little bit faster to speed up the economy, which is not a bad thing. And after some time, you do indeed, off to your northeast, notice a large hill with a relatively flat top on it. And it doesn't take you but another half hour or so to traverse around the outside of that particular hill. You sort of come around and you can see an area where it looks like it's been not well traveled, but there has been people here before. And you pull up your wagon and you all get out, do whatever you do, descend to the wagon. And you are now standing sort of looking at the side of this hill, and the height of it to the flat top is about 80, 90, 100 feet. It looks like it's roughly about 300 feet around, and it's got a very sort of rocky cliff face on the side that you're standing. And true to the picture that you've been given, if you're looking down towards the western side of the hill, you notice that there's a bit of an open. Looks like it's been partially cleared with these like thorns and brambles covering one entrance, and it's been partially cleared almost directly in front of you. You've almost pulled right up to the entrance that Bash has sort of pointed out to you. There's a partially caved in sort of hole in the rock face, and then looking further down to the east, you see another fully cleared opening, which has got a big pile of dead brambles to one side. And according to Bash's picture, the one in the center is the entrance that you need.
Okay, so I guess do we head to that entrance then? What does it look like for the cart, DM? We'll get the cart there quite happily, or are we going to have to traverse on foot?
Well, you're only about probably 50 or 60 feet from the entrance. It's pretty clear. There's not a lot of trees around. You could probably take the cart right up to the entrance if you wanted to.
Yes, Hit pulls the cart up to the entrance with anyone who wants to jump in with him. We can tie it off here and maybe cover it up with some stuff.
I don't think we actually need to cover it up. It's not like there's really nothing in it.
Yeah, I was more thinking that someone might want to take our horses and cart, our wagon, which is large enough to have us all sleep in if we wanted to. Well, most of us.
Do we have a tracking spell?
Would I be able to track things?
Track what specifically?
What are we tracking?
The car. If it goes missing.
Yeah, well, I mean, Inari, you're an experienced tracker. You reckon you'd be able to track it if it went missing? But
I'm going to get off the cart and I'm going to look at it and I'm going to go, if we take out these pins here on the wheels and carry them with us, if someone does take the cart, the wheels will fall off and then they can't go anywhere.
That is a wonderful idea.
I would say, yeah,
Although
definitely.
we might
with your background,
come back,
definitely.
Yeah, we might come back and the cart would be on rocks. And the wheels would go.
Yeah, some lowly goblins might come and steal your wagon wheels.
How rude. Let's do it.
There's a good safe bet.
We'll do that. Yeah, we'll do that.
Maybe we take them off and lay the wheels sideways and sit the wagon on the wheels, and then we can tie off the horses, and then that would just put someone right off, right?
Or we could just take off 2 wheels and let it sit on that side type deal.
Yeah, good call. Let's do that.
Are we in that kind of place?
So, who is attempting to remove the gudgeon pins from 2 of the wheels?
Bugger, I'll give it a go for one of them.
Well, I'm assuming Sadiq is going to do it, but who else? Who's going to help?
I'll give him a hand.
So, Sadiq, roll a strength check with advantage. Actually, before any of that, what tools do you guys have? Do you have any tools to remove these pins?
I have smithing tools.
Then you'll be fine because you'll have a hammer and bits and pieces. So.
He also has mason's tools, which he could lend to help there be.
So roll with advantage on a strength check and add your proficiency modifier.
Well, it's a natural 20 for the roll. Strength is +2 and proficiency is +4. So
holy shit, dude! Nat 20, guys.
Good 1s and 20s tonight.
It's sad. Yeah, we've had a couple of natural 1s already. Now natural 20. Don't forget, chat. If you're not a sub and you want to use the emotes, channel points, guys, you can unlock emotes with the channel points. So with that, you and a posture check. Thank you, Trash. With that, you relatively easily and with pretty good skill, you grab your hammer and you got a chisel and stuff there, and you sort of look at the wheel and you think, okay, Might need to roll it forward a little bit, so you just move, you get everyone sort of in behind it, you push it forward a little bit to get the pin in the right position, and you, in a 2 or 3 hits, kang, the pin pops out and hits the ground, and you do that twice without too many hassles at all. You now have the pins for your 2 right wheels out on in your hands.
I'll put them in the bag.
Now,
Hold them.
yeah. Now, do we actually take the wheels off, or do we just nudge them so that they look like they're about to fall off, so someone will look at it and go, "Yeah, I see why." You know, it broke type deal.
Nah.
What? Because taking them off will be easy. It's getting them back on. That's going to be the hard part. That's what I'm worried about.
So we're right in front of this entrance we're supposed to be at, yeah?
Yep. And what you see in front
and
of
we
you,
got the 2 pins off the thingo, and
Just a question. Fiala, do you have any spells, like vine spells, that are permanent?
I do have a bind spell, but it only lasts an hour.
Vines, like plants
Oh,
come up from the ground.
vines.
Because you could probably cast some vines or something like that to go up through the wheels to stop them from moving, and maybe.
You guys are really interested in this cart. I
we just
only
need
have
to.
temporary
Look,
vines.
all we need is central locking. That's all I'm saying.
Carts have central. What's central locking?
It's a lock that sits in the center. You lock it, and all the wheels are locked, so that you don't have to worry about central lock.
We can disable the horses too.
That's
I-
probably not a good idea.
We cut the heads off the horses, but then we don't have to worry about them getting away.
Well, I was just thinking the legs, and they would serve 2 purposes because then we would have 4 days of food from each horse.
While they're arguing about the cart, I'm going to ask Allie if she wants to look around the entrance of the thing for traps.
Yeah, all right, I'll do that.
so roll investigation, including your your modifier,
Modifier.
proficiency. Investigation plus proficiency for traps.
Oh, that's good. 19 then.
19. And you walk up to the front of this partially like it's a good sized hole. You'd be able to crawl through it, but it's definitely been partially caved in, and it looks like people have sort of dug their way into it, and which is kind of what Bash had sort of described to you. And you look in, and it's fairly dark in here, but you can sort of see with the light coming from the day that it's a really long corridor in front of you. You sort of check around the entranceway, and there's no sign of any physical trap or anything like that you can see. I mean, it's just rubble and cave entrance, or a corridor entrance in front of you.
You leave that all to the group? Well, to Fiala, seeing she's the only one there. The others are arguing on how to keep the wagon there. Okay.
Pretty much.
Tough job.
So Sadiq, Inari, and Het, you're still standing at the wagon, sort of discussing the wagon thing. Fiala and Alessandros have sort of moved away and inspecting the cave entrance. What are you doing, guys?
Het scratches his head and says, I guess it's good with the wheels off. Maybe we should go over with the others. They look like they could get themselves into trouble by splitting the group soon.
I think so too.
Now, remember, this place has got a lot of traps, so say we move very slowly, and who's got the keenest eyes?
Who's got the sorry what now?
Who can spot stuff the best?
Oh, okay. It's so not what I heard.
I have
Um,
dark vision 60 feet.
I
Um,
have dark vision 90 feet.
I think maybe what Sadiq is meaning is who can spot the trips, the traps, the bad things that are
Ellie.
about to happen.
Oh,
I
yeah,
think
rogue.
that's Ellie's. Yeah, that's definitely Ellie's warehouse. And just so you know, in the dark, I can see absolutely perfectly. There is no hindrance to me.
What vitamins are you taking? And I want some. Or where can I get some?
It's something to do with the deities that I am bound to. Did not have it originally, if you remember. I was quite blind, but now I see.
Huh.
Cool.
Alrighty, shall we go in?
So it would go Ellie, Het, me, Yayla, and Harry then?
That will work if you are happy, team.
Alright, heading in.
Het follows about 5 feet behind Ellie.
So your marching order, Alessandros, Het, Viela, Inari, then Sadiq.
I'm in the middle,
You're in the middle.
Yayla and Inari behind me.
I'll be behind everybody so I can keep it up.
Cool, no problem. Done. Sorted.
Yes. Sadiq, any sign of battle, and I shall step back and let you take the lead, because that is not my forefront. That is not my wheelhouse.
Basically, you're in front of me because you see better than me. That's the only reason.
Correct. But as soon as there is trouble, I will drop back.
So with
We
that,
have a plan.
you push forward. Alessandro's leading the way, climbing over the few small rocks and a bit of debris, and sort of dropping into this long corridor. It's quite dark in here, but the light that is coming through initially from where you are, you sort of see about 10-15 feet in front of you. On the floor in front of you, Alessandro says you sort of are the first to get through. You see bright, brilliant colours are to be seen floor, walls and ceiling. The stones and pigments are undimmed by the passage of decades of time that this place has potentially been here. The floor of the corridor is a colourful mosaic of stone and distinct winding path of red tiles, about 2 feet wide, snaking its way south down the corridor. No stonework can be seen on the walls or the ceiling, which is about 20 feet above you. Some sort of cement or plaster has been smoothed over these surfaces and then looks like it's been painted by something. The scenes that are painted on the walls that you can sort of just see either side of you seem to be like with kine gazing, sort of grazing in fields, sort of several wolves in the background, workers of various races, some strange human animal mixtures, pig human, ape human, dog human, varying tusks and things, all sorts of things doing various different things. As you sort of move down the hallway, is anyone going to light a light? Is that before we reveal anything else?
Yes, Het pulls forth his lute, looks around and says, I need to help you out, team, for those of you who are having trouble seeing. And he strums the lute and says, hit the lights, dan, 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 dan. And away goes the light.
And it's lute illuminating the path before you. No, I'm not. But I know you're going to turn it on anyway. as you as the light lights the way, certain of the frescoes show rooms of some building, a library filled with many books and scrolls, a door of a torture chamber, a wizard's workroom. There are chairs, windows, boxes, bales, doors, birds. There's just a range of different things painted along these walls. And if you have a quick nosy at your stream, this with that light, with all the shiny bright bricks and stuff hit, you pretty much illuminate the entire corridor. The bottom end of it is a little bit dimmer, but you can sort of see this red path snaking its way down. There seems to be a bit of an opening right at the southern end, to the bottom left or bottom right down the bottom here. And
so we're at the top of that.
You're at the top of that, yep. And right at the very end, you can sort of make out a very, just in the distance, it looks like a face. Just a big, large sort of face you can make down at the end.
Hey,
Yes,
how many times can you cast that light spell?
I can hold it as long as I need to. I can just continually cast it. It's one of my easier tricks. It's something you learn in like the first week of Bard College.
So with that, I take out an arrow from my quiver.
Yes.
Hey, could you light the end of this, or the shaft of this arrow for me?
Yes, I can. And it says, "A shot in the dark." And he strums the lute, holds the end of the arrow, and lights it up.
And with that, your arrow now shines a brilliant white light.
Get my bow and aim it down the corridor.
The lute will also go dim. It can only be one source at a time.
That's right. You fire the arrow. Roll a strength check for me to see how far you fire it. Roll it with advantage as well.
2 rolls and take the highest, yeah?
Yes, sir.
Oh, thank God for that. 17.
So with that, you sort of you aim it slightly upwards because you know you need to try and get it the full length of this corridor. And as you fire it, as it moves down, it lights up the entire corridor, strikes the rear wall. It doesn't embed because it's all solid concrete, but it hits the rear wall, and as it drops, it illuminates this large face on the rear wall, which I think I have a reference picture here.
I think we'd be able to see it from that distance too clearly.
Pretty much that's what you see. I illuminated quite brightly. It's in jade green, so it illuminated, and it's quite large. But that is what you saw at the end of the corridor.
Ooh.
Guys, I'm thinking we stick to the red path.
Sadiq, is that one of your relations? It is a similar color to you.
I was thinking it looked more like one of your relations with the horns and all.
Oh, I get that resemblance, actually. Now I see it. Thank you for pointing that out. I don't have any green relations, though, but could be. Ali, do you think it's a door?
I'm not sure what it is, but if memory serves me, well, not memory, more gut instinct about stuff in corridors, and yeah, I don't like this. And no, I haven't. DM.
What does he not like? We're in the back, by the way.
Oh, the corridor's wide enough. You're looking at probably 20 feet wide, 20, 30 feet wide, so it's wide enough that you could all just about be standing shoulder to shoulder at the start of this corridor.
Ali, you want us to stay on the red line, though, right?
I'm scared now. I'd have to go yes.
I think it might be a good idea. There must be a point to it. Hit decides to. He's checking with the group. Group, I can give me 10 minutes, and I can maybe detect some magic in this corridor.
Can you send Collect down the hallway with following the pathway to see if he sets off in?
Yes, send him in as like the spider or the rat.
Probably a rat would be the better way.
Although him in spider form's fairly big, though, isn't it?
About the size of a cat, which was also about the size of. They're roughly all around the same size, the forms.
All right, either then.
So Hit summons forth Kilik, who was, I believe, still Raven form at the entrance, and he just summons him into the void, from the void into here, and he says, Kilik, as Rat, can you run down to the end of this corridor? And Kilik does.
Following the path.
Sorry, following the red path, yes.
So how far can you send Collect down away from you? What's his movement speed? I think his movement speed's 30.
His movement is 40.
40? Not sure how far can he leave?
Sorry, no, his movement is 20 as the creature small.
Okay. Cool. I think we used like was 100 feet as sort of our max. Can't remember.
Distance from us, 100 feet max.
Yeah.
As communicatable. After that,
okay, after that is.
Communicate. Yeah.
Wait. So you send him down. I mean, the corridor's probably not 100 feet long anyway, so you're well within range to send him down. And again, as he walks down, following the red path, he sort of what is? Are you looking through him at this point, using his eyes, or?
No, just using him to follow the path to see if anything happens to him.
So he follows the path. It snakes down, sort of veers to one side, goes down another sort of 10 or 15 feet, snakes over to the other side of the corridor, comes directly, sort of does almost like a U-turn, comes directly back across, then goes straight again, sort of disappears into the dim light at the end of this tunnel, because now your loot has gone out and the arrow still be lit, wouldn't it?
Correct, it stays lit for an hour.
So what's the radius at? 20 bright, 20 dim?
Yes, correct.
I also grab my greatsword and activate the
Okay.
Wizard Dawn.
And that's 10 bright, 10 dim on that, isn't it?
20 feet radius.
Okay, so you've got sort of a dim patch in the middle, and then it sort of brightens up again as he moves forward towards the large face on the back of the corridor. Nothing happens. He's sticking to the path. Everything seems to be okay. He reaches the end. Doesn't seem to have any effect thus far.
All right, team. Kilik, he's pretty good. He didn't get killed by anything. I guess that's a good sign, right?
No, was him just following the path?
Or he was too light to set anything off, but yeah, it looks okay, I guess.
All right,
Okay,
heading down,
Lead the
following the path.
and Hit follows.
So you're all moving forward, following the path.
Yep.
Yeah,
Well,
one by one.
So you move further down, and as you move sort of down the corridor, you are following the path. Everything looks fine. I say the walls have all these sort of weird pictures and that sort of painted on them. You sort of get down maybe 20 feet, and you, on your right as you go down, you notice what you see there as you're moving down towards sort of the red path sort of snakes over to the right hand wall as you move down, and you see those figures painted on the wall. There seems to be a chest of sorts, or a box of sorts, sort of protruding from the wall. It almost seems like it's painted as well. And then just further down, there's another door painted, and almost seeming more than two-dimensional. And on, let's say, the ceiling, everything is painted. Ignore the cobwebs, because there's no cobwebs in here at all. Everything is just clean. Like there's been someone in here actually literally coming in here and dusting. There's just no cobwebs. Obviously people have tried to loot this place several times. There's been a lot of traffic in and through the place. But that's sort of about 25 feet from the entrance. You see that scene there. Do you keep moving forward?
Head stops and holds his loot, like upright, like a cross, and he says, "Steel lady, show me what affects this place." And he instacasts, detect magic.
Detect magic. You cast your detect magic, and nothing apart from the magical items that you and your party are wearing show as visible to you.
Okay, team, hit just instacast a detection of magic, and there is nothing magical showing out of the ordinary, that is.
Yeah, so essentially the most outstanding feature of this location where you're currently standing is the two jackal-headed human figures that are painted as to appear to be holding a real bronze chest that protrudes from this wall at your current location.
So about 25 foot down?
About 25 feet in, yeah.
Roughly where is that to relation to the path that we're on?
I will show you. So you've started in here, you've come down this snaking path. Puts you in at about here on the path.
And what side of the path is that thing on?
You're right, because you guys are facing downwards, walking down the corridor. So if you're looking at it from your perspective, it is on your right.
So off the path then.
Technically, on that it says it's off the path, but the path is as wide as it is to the wall. So you're still standing on the path, looking at the wall.
I'm choosing to ignore it. Come back to it if we get out of here alive. Don't have objections to that.
I really want to move toward the shiny box, so I
No,
kind of
you-
like
No,
I kind of
you-
like edge
no,
a little bit
no,
closer.
no.
Do you listen to him?
Just very slowly closer, but I don't. I'm in the back, so I can't really touch it.
You could wait till he's moved forward. It's up to you.
Leave the shiny alone.
All right, I'm going to continue down the path.
So you're going to continue down the path? Is
I'm
everyone
sorry,
following?
A chest sitting right there is the most obvious looking trap I've ever seen.
With that said, does it have a lock on it?
From where you're standing, looking at it, it doesn't appear to.
Guys.
No.
It does not think it is a good idea.
Inari, if you see Fiala trying to, open that box, can you kick her in the ass past it?
I'm looking at Fiala going, do you remember what happened last time we opened a box that we shouldn't? And another labyrinthy type tomby thing.
No, I don't think I was
Yeah.
there for that.
Yeah,
Me
you
and
were.
Inari got very sick very quickly.
Oh, that box.
Oh, I see.
Maybe not such a good idea.
I walk by, but I look at it really longingly.
Yeah. Not every box is meant to be played with.
Oh, is that
Oh,
a rule?
wow.
Sadiq.
Wow.
Hit like Sadiq more every day.
Moving along.
So, do you carry on moving forward,
Following the path.
following the path? You move further down now, another 20 feet. You get to the sort of the U-bend. It sort of veers off to your left, heading towards the left wall. Again, you're seeing more of these elaborate paintings depicting different things. You snake around the U-bend, heading back across towards the right-hand wall this time. And again, it turns back towards the south, sort of almost hard up against the right-hand wall, leading downwards towards this green face. You get to another left-hand turn in the path, and it turns back to the south again. It's sort of snaking down, sort of show you whereabouts you guys are. You've come down this one here. You've made this U-turn. You've now moved down to here, coming around this little turn here, heading back down south. With that, who's in the front?
Me.
And hit second.
Need you to make a dexterity saving throw for me, Trash, please.
11.
11. That is a failure. As you step forward onto this particular section of floor here, the moment your weight shifts onto your front foot, you hear a loud cracking under your feet. And while the floor doesn't immediately give way and crack and shatter, the floor tilts slightly and then swings down, and you hear a thunk as it hits the opposite side of this now pit, which you are falling into, Trash.
Shadow step.
Hit. Oh, good
You, what does it cost for a shadow step? Is it a reaction?
Yeah.
Shadow step's not a reaction.
Hang on.
I'm pretty sure it's an action or a bonus action.
Hang on, I'm looking it up. Learn how to from shadow to shadow. What's next? Bonus action, apparently.
Yeah, so unfortunately you are not able to do it because this is a reactionary situation.
And I also have the ring on it as well, so...
Yeah, I know that.
Hit. Reach out and try to grab him as a reaction.
You certainly can, because this roguish person has featherfall ring. You're not like falling instantly. Like, you sort of hover there for a second, giving Het, who is directly behind you, a chance to reach out and grab you. So Het, I'll get you to make a dexterity check.
Oh crap!
And
4.
in turn, I'm going to grab Het to stop him from going.
Which is not entirely necessary, as Het goes to grab Alessandros and misses completely. As Alessandros, you do fall, but you are falling a little slower than usual. But at the bottom of this pit, as you look down, it's not just a drop into a flat bottom pit. There are several large spikes protruding from the ground below, and even with featherfall, you will take some damage. As you do, you can't really control your fall. It's not like flying, so you're still falling, you're just falling at a slower rate. So you will take 5 points of piercing damage as you sort of hit yourself, and you don't get impaled or anything serious like that, but you get a couple of scrapes here and there as you sort of fall in between the spikes and land without taking bludgeoning damage as well at the base of this 30-foot deep pit. So, guys, Alessandros is now at the bottom of a 30-foot pit. You've taken the piercing damage. You'll also need to make a Constitution saving throw for me, Trashman.
Allie, while you're down there, have a look around if there's anything useful.
14.
Now that is also a failure. You will take 22 points of poison damage as an unknown toxin starts to course through your veins. You feel nauseated.
I'm gonna grab my rope and like hand it down. To
Am I able to shadow step up to where those guys are?
Yeah, you wouldn't need to. Sadiq's sort of starting to lower a rope.
All right, do that then.
And you're not gonna need any kind of strength check to get up. I mean, you're not poisoned, but you have taken poison damage. Actually, no, you are poisoned. So you've taken 22 points of poison damage, and now the poison is coursing through your veins. So you now have disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks.
Allie, have you got the rope? Are you alright? Sadiq, do you need a hand?
I should be able to pull her up pretty easy.
Yeah, you don't take any problems pulling her up. I mean, you lower the rope. Alessandros, you're feeling nauseated and headachy, but you think you're okay. And you grab the rope and without too many hassles, you're able to pull her up. And which side are you pulling her up on? The side that you guys were standing? Or
Yeah.
are you gonna? Okay, so you pull her up on that side, and as you pull her up, the moment you guys sort of pull her back and get her back onto solid path, you sort of step back and get back onto the red path. That trap's lid slowly raises with the grinding of stone on stone and resets itself, and you hear a sort of an audible click as it resets.
Well, that is not good. Het pulls forth his small ink jar from the back of his pack, and he makes an ink blob just carefully on that stone. Says, let's keep an eye on these, eh?
Duly noted.
Oh crap, that's what I was gonna buy before we left. I was gonna buy some chalk.
Some chalk.
So that we can mark wherever a trap was near. 'Cause
We have
eventually
paint that we were going to use.
that will work.
I think it's in Fiola's backpack.
Yes,
And
you do.
lipstick.
In
Nail
fact,
polish.
you
Yeah.
do have.
We have paint and lipstick, in fact.
You do.
I get the nail polish and lipstick, and I'll hand it to Sadiq since he seemed to know what he wanted to do with it.
Wait,
And
you've got nail polish and lipstick?
Yes.
Oh no, it's okay. Just wondering.
Look at Inari and look at him again.
I just shrug.
So I'm just gonna put an on this side. I'm gonna put an X.
Yep.
Point it and draw it straight into where the trap is. and
Okay.
Put a circle.
Cool. And you're able to do that. So that's all now done. Alessandros is back up. You can see she's taken a couple of scrapes up, sort of one arm and a bit of a rip on one of the paint legs and a bit of blood. They're nothing too serious. And she seems okay.
I have a potion of cure poison.
You wouldn't know that she was poisoned.
Do you want it, Allie?
She wouldn't know that she was poisoned at this point.
That should be good. Doesn't think too
Yeah,
much is
at
wrong.
this point, I mean, you've taken the poison damage, but you don't feel like that you're poisoned at this point. You've taken damage from the spikes. You feel a little bit nauseated, but you put that down to maybe just the fall and the fact that these spikes are probably pretty old.
And it caught me off guard.
Yeah.
No, should be good.
So, did you waver off the path, Ellie?
That was
or
going
is
to be
it-
my question.
I don't think so. So walking along the path, looks like I still need to check for traps.
Maybe Kelek was too light, like you said, Sadiq.
Yeah.
All right, so avoiding that, checking for traps as I go.
So which way are you traveling now? You're going to go around the trap block and off the path?
Checking the block that's there before we do it.
So you're going to have a investigate that one block, looking at it, and even roll investigation trash just to inspect the one that you've tripped, and
17.
then from there roll another investigation and tell me which way you're traveling on that path. So 17, you don't put any weight on it, but you inspect sort of around the edges. Now that where you think this thing joins, and it lines up perfectly with the other cobblestones. It does not look like a trap at all, and it's if you didn't know that was a trap, you would never have seen it.
And 18 for the other investigation.
And which way are you heading on that path specifically?
I could have a look at the map again. Never mind.
It's up. So you hit the trap about here. This was where the trap was. You guys are now standing on this section of the path here.
Yeah, just here. So there, yep. And we're there. Okay.
That's a 5-foot block, right?
Those are 10 feet. In reference, those are 10 feet. So the corridor's 20 feet wide.
All right, I'm going to have a look.
When the trap slid away, we saw that whole block be solid.
Yes. It was almost like it was on a reverse hinge. It sort of hinged down and then almost ratcheted back up, but it didn't seem to. You didn't hear any ratchets, but you didn't see any hinges either. But that it was a whole 5-foot square block dropped out from underneath Alessandro's feet.
Stepping to the edge, I'm gonna kick the floor that the trap was on to see if that sets it off.
You're gonna stomp on it, standing on the edge.
Yeah, putting most of my weight on the back foot and just stomp with the other foot on the trap to see if it sets.
Let's see. You stomp your foot, and you stomp your foot with a fair amount of weight behind it, as much as you can without sort of putting all your weight on that front leg, and nothing happens.
Very in particular trap. Okay. So I'm just wondering if it'd be worth just jumping straight across onto that other block and then continuing along the path.
It could be worth a go. Let's see. Go for it, Sadiq.
Is there anything on the walls that would suggest maybe something that you've passed?
No, I say all the walls are painted with, like I said, each side is just painted with mosaics. There's different pictures depicting different things. So Alessandro, where did you specifically look for more traps? And which direction did you start to head?
Probably to the closer to the wall on the left side.
So your left side going down. So because you're at that sort of juncture there. So your left would be sort of this side of that block. Okay, so you're sort of moving it down that wall and sort of looking as you go forward.
Yeah, checking for traps as I go.
You seem to bypass that stone without too many hassles. It's sort of almost right in the center of the path, and there's literally enough room either side of the path to walk, and you step off the path. Nothing happens. You keep moving down towards the end. You get to about sort of here. And are you looking back on the path as well, or just off the path?
on.
You come back on the path past where the trap trip. Get down to about here, and you still find no sign of any mechanical traps.
Keep moving along the path.
Are you guys going to follow Trashy's line? Well, Alessandro's line, sorry.
Yes.
Yep.
So you move further down. You get... Whoop, crap. You will scooch this
Oh
in.
no, we get crap.
Scooch this in a bit so we can sort of see a little bit clearer where you guys are. So you've gotten down to about here. You still now move down to sort of this section. This is roughly, I'll get you to stop here and make another investigation check if you are wanting to look for any more traps or anything out of the ordinary. Twin! Cheers, buddy, with the raid.
At 20, 26.
26. With that, you do see a discrepancy in a block about here. It just looks, it's slightly off color. That's about the only difference you see. It's very subtle, but there is a slight difference in the shade of red compared to the rest.
That's the only area?
It's just that one area, just that one area right there on the edge of that line there.
Going to hug the wall and move around that, letting the others know that there's something there.
Okay. Sadiq, do you mark that one also with the information given by Ellie as you move around?
Yeah, same mark, X with a line in a circle.
Cool.
Where that.
So now you should be able to avoid that. So as you slowly move around that square and move back onto the path and sort of head down towards sort of this juncture here, right in front of you, look directly across to this portion here. You see an archway, and then immediately to your right down that section of path, you see the big green face with a gaping dark hole in its mouth. Can I get everyone to make a perception check, please?
17.
17 from Alessandros. Fiala?
Nat 20 for
Natural.
28.
28 for Fiala. Hit.
7 for hit.
7 for hit. Can we get a nat 20 in the chat, guys? Anari?
23.
23, and Sadiq?
Same as hit.
Same as hit. 7. So average. Anari, Fiala, and Alessandros especially, though, Hit and Sadiq, you really don't sort of get this sort of mental image. The rest of you do. You get an odd feeling. It's like, whoa, that's kind of weird. But then you hear a voice. Congratulations on your powers of observation. So make of this whatever you wish. You will be mine in the end, no matter what. Go back to the Tormentor or through the Arch, and then and the second great hall you'll discover. Shun green if you can, but night's good colour for those of great valour. In shades of red, stand for blood. The wise will not not need sacrifice, aught but a loop of magical metal. You're well along your march. 2 pits along the way will be found to lead to fortuitous fall, so check the wall. These keys and those are most important of all, and beware the trembling hands, what will maul. If you find the false, you find the true, and into the columned hall you'll come, and there the throne that keys and keyed, the iron men of vicious grim do more than meets the viewer's eye. You've left and found my tomb, and now your souls will die.
I'm looking at Inari. I am Inari. I'm looking at Fiala and the others. And did you see, hear that?
Hedge has his quill out in his notebook and he goes, yes, I'm just writing what I remember.
Oh, good, it's not just me. Whew.
It is. I've just copied it into the Paradigm chat, guys.
Oh, that's okay. I was like, oh, ah.
I love riddles, though. This will be fun.
Yes, Hedge loves riddles. Actually, that could be more bears than
Right.
he'd.
So,
What do you make of it, people?
I think it's saying we're all gonna die down here.
Just not
Yeah,
so
but we
many words.
always get that.
Hedge thinks
Something
It
about
is-
colors.
yeah, it is a clue. Definitely talking about the Tormentor and the Arch. I'm not sure what the Tormentor is. Could be that the treasure chest that Fiala was looking at is the Tormentor, and the Arch is maybe the the big mouth thing. But shun green if you can is the first thing I got, and shades of red stand for blood. So shun green would be danger, and also red would be danger. Does that just mean everything red and green is danger? I'm not sure.
But night's good colour. I'm
Or-
thinking black.
Or do we worry we like red, but we stay the hell away from green?
Is the
It-
mouth guy statue arch green? So maybe we shouldn't
Yeah.
go that way.
Maybe we need to go back to the box.
It could be a clue going to the box first. I dare say that green mouth is somewhere we have to go no matter what. There's not many ways to go in here. But you never know, maybe the box is a secret door or something.
So we go
No.
in the box.
No.
so before you carry on any further, before any more discussion, before you looking back and forth, you can see the big green face with the wide open black mouth, and directly in front of you, which is over here, you have a stone archway before you. It's filled with thick vapors. The stones on either side of the base and keystones protrude slightly from the stones around them. As you move within touching distance, the left-hand stone begins to glow yellow, the right-hand stone orange, and the keystone 7 feet on the archway above, blue. But there is a thick orangey, sort of semi-opaque vapor that is filling this room.
How far
So much
away?
so that you can't see through it into the room.
Now, that thing on the wall, the face,
Yes.
did you say that its mouth is black? How
Yes, on
does
the
it look like a
wall-
hole?
On the wall before you is a relief sculpture of a devil's face. Mosaic tiles, formed of mosaic tiles. The face has a huge O for a mouth, inside which the space is dead black.
I'm tempted to put my hand in there. Oh my god.
What
I'm
color were the
just-
keystones?
Blue, orange, and yellow. So the left-hand base stone is yellow, the right-hand base stone is orange, and the keystone, which is 7 feet above, is blue.
Maybe do we start at the beginning? 2 pits along the way. Well, we found a pit, and Ali, you found another pit. It says, did it say will lead to a fortuitous fall? So check the wall. I guess check the wall would mean stay to the side, which we have done. That's the beginning. So we've done this part. Is it in order? Is the tormentor through the arch? Maybe we have to take it in steps, going back through where we began.
I think if it's in order, then the tormentor is the statue monster guy, and the arch is to the left. Then that's our first thing we have to pick, and then the next one
Correct.
is the next room.
So just to quickly go back through the poem, even though you guys are probably reading it. So it starts, go back to the tormentor or through the arch, and the second great hall you'll discover. Shun the green if you can, but night's good colour is for those of great valour. If shades of red stand for blood, the wise will not need sacrifice. Aught but a loop of magical metal, you're well along your march. 2 pits along the way will be found to lead to fortuitous fall, so check the wall. The keys and those are most important of all, and beware of the trembling hands and what will maul. If you find the false, you find the true, and into the columned hall you'll come, and there the throne that keys and keyed, the iron men's visage, grim do more than meets the viewer's eye. You've left and found my tomb, and now your souls will die.
I'm going to go and stick my hand in this thing's mouth.
Anari, roll a intelligence check.
It's too late.
It's too late. She's done it.
Yeah. Keep your hands still. Don't move left or right.
18.
18. So you're going to stick your hand in.
Mm-hmm.
So intelligence check, nothing really happens. You stick your hand in. And so how far do you stick your hand in first?
Enough to feel if there's
That's what
lever or something.
Oh,
See if there's to see if I can feel a lever or something in there.
Roll a Constitution saving throw for me.
19.
19?
19.
Almost immediately as you reach your hand in, you feel instant cold. You go up to the wrist. Nothing really happens. It feels cold and there's no breeze coming from it. Just feels colder than the room that you're in. Up to the elbow, can't really feel anything. Get up to the shoulder as far as you can get, sort of reaching forward, and you can't feel anything. But all of a sudden you feel an immense pain at your shoulder as you take 35 force damage. This pain at the shoulder is as though something has grabbed onto your arm and is now trying to rip your arm off at the shoulder. This force has gripped you. You can no longer move. You are stuck. And you are in an intense pain. What are you guys doing? And Ari starts to scream with an absolute agony. And what are you gonna do?
I like to cast Freedom of Movement 4th level.
What does that do?
You touch a willing creature, and for the duration, the movement's unaffected. Spells and magical effects can either reduce target speed. The target can also spend 5 feet of movement to automatically escape from non-magical restraints such as manacles or grapple, so it's non-magical.
You cast Freedom of Movement and nothing happens. She's still screaming in agony as you feel your shoulder now start to dislocate.
So if you can pull her out.
What are you doing, guys? 6 seconds.
Hit grabs
I'm gonna grab
onto her and
her and
pulls.
start pulling her out.
Hit is helping.
You grab onto her and try and pull. I need to one of you to make a strength check at advantage.
Sadiq, that would be you, I would say.
That's a 21.
21. With that, both of you grab onto her. I mean, she's screaming out in pain. You get the look of horror on her face. The tears are streaming down her face now. And as you go to pull, Anara, you feel your shoulder pop. And now it feels like the skin's starting to tear. Do you let them know this? They can't see that. This is what you feel the moment they start to pull on your arm.
I look at them and say, yeah, no, let me go. I'm like, it's still got me, and
Come
I
on,
feel
you're
like my
in
arms.
pain, lady. You don't sound like you're in pain.
Yep.
Your arm is about to be torn off.
I probably wouldn't be saying much because I'd be in too much pain. I'd just be screaming like,
And scream loudly.
ah!
Again, what are you doing, guys?
Hears her screaming and sort of, I guess she's pushing back or pulling back.
Yeah.
That's not working, Sadiq. Maybe, I don't know, do we push her in?
Is the hole big enough?
It is. It's big enough for probably Het
Shove
to
her
jump
in.
into.
One way or the other. Het pushes.
Make a strength check.
I'm assisting with a 17.
17. All right.
Het gets an 11.
Combined, yeah, you both sort of make a snap decision. Pulling her out's not going to work. It's obviously hurting. So you grab her feet and you push her into the mouth. Inari disappears. And is gone. No sound.
Uh-oh.
And the screaming
my-
stops almost instantly.
Touch my earring and say, Inari, are you there?
Inari, you do hear her.
How am I feeling at this point?
Your
the pain
arm
stopped?
is your arm. You'll take another 16 points of force damage as you are sucked into the void. Your arm is still there, but as you are in extreme pain. Your shoulder is dislocated, and you can see them where you are.
Okay.
But you have no armor. You have no weapons. No backpack. You are naked as the day you were born. You are
Hi.
standing at the top of the red path behind your companions.
Behind them.
Behind them. You can see them. You can see them sort of looking at this face, and you've heard Viela talk to you, and you can see them. They're right there in front of you at the end of this corridor. You are standing at the very start of this corridor where you guys came in, at the start of the red path. You're standing on the very first block of the red path, but you are naked as a jaybird
Okay, I touch
with a
my
dislocated
earring
shoulder.
with a dislocated shoulder. I would possibly do something about that first. Would that happen to me before in the field?
It's up to you.
I'd try and whack it back in.
So you sort of walk over the wall and slam your shoulder against the wall, and it pops back in, but it hurts.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll take another 4 points of damage as you relocate your shoulder and you cry out. With that, guys, you probably would have heard her cry out as she reset her shoulder.
Oh no, it's killing her in there.
I
How do
then
we get her out?
touch my earring and I say, I'm behind you.
I'm like, oh, thank God, Inari. And they say, oh, jeez, what happened?
And we see her.
You do see her. She's standing. I mean, you probably don't. You can sort of see the outline of a naked elf, because by this time she's probably silhouetted against the start of the front of the cave. You guys are in light where you are with Sadiq's sword and stuff, so she can see you quite well. You guys see the silhouette of Inari naked at the start of this corridor.
How far away is that, DM?
About 80 feet. 80, 100
with
feet.
Het's supervision, he sees her clear plain as day.
Probably.
Inari, you are stalkers.
Yeah.
You do have the earrings, you don't have to yell.
I'm like, meh.
Oh yeah.
It's okay.
I'm going to regret this, but Fiela, do you want to go have a look at that chest now?
Whose chest? Oh, that chest.
I'm picking because, I've been a soldier my whole life. I would have been around people naked, and it wouldn't bother me.
Probably. Yeah, I mean, you're definitely not ashamed of your body, I'd imagine. Doesn't worry you being naked.
I
mean, it worries you that you
nicely.
don't. It worries you that you have no armor and you don't have any weapons and you have no backpack.
Yeah.
So the worry sort of outweighs one outweighs the other a little bit. You have no idea where your armor or weapons have gone.
Can I? So I can't see them
The
anywhere?
last thing you remember was your friends picking you up and shoving you in this hole. But in saying that, you also know that was probably the best thing to do, otherwise you would have lost your arm.
Head cautiously makes his way back down the corridor towards Inari, following the path they went through, so he avoids the traps.
Noted.
I follow, yeah.
Has anybody got any clothes?
Head is reaching into his bag at this time, and he has a costume and some traveler's clothes. He's sort of sizing them up as he's walking, watching his feet carefully, and then, Inari, I have something here for you, some clothing if you would like.
Thank you. Can't see my backpack down there anywhere. It didn't go through with me.
No, I don't see. Head looks.
Everything went through with her. Like, there's nothing down there.
So we still got lights going, do we?
Yes.
And they're at the start of it again, aren't they?
Well, if Het and Fiala have moved down to the back to the start with Inari, I mean, whether you and Sadiq have or not, that's up to you.
I'm going to the chest, but before I do that, I want everyone to put their lights out.
Okay.
Then tell them. Don't tell me,
Hey.
tell them.
So, everyone, put your lights out.
How far is the chest away from the opening that Inari got stripped in?
Oh, the chest that you guys saw that was in the wall was right back towards the start. So the chest is
more than 20 feet away?
Oh yeah. The chest is way back here.
Yeah, I'm gonna just look at Ellie and go, I'll stay here, you go there.
No, put your lights out. I want to check something. Then you can light it back up again.
Hit cast.
It's not
banish
that
the light
simple.
and turns it off.
Okay. So, with that, we are going to take a 5-minute break, guys. Before we carry on any further. So we go back to that. So we're going to take 5 minutes, guys. Bear with us. We're going to have a short break. We'll be right back. We need to have drink and food and visit the outhouse. So thank you very much for hanging out with us so far tonight. Lord Crimson, dude, thank you for joining us. Twin Gats dropping in with a raid. Thank you very much, dude. Appreciate it. And Gung Ho dropping a resub. Appreciate it, my friend. Also just want to acknowledge that yesterday, while we weren't streaming, we had Shaker Wolfie, the Fudgeways, and Chancey R6 drop a follow on the channel as well. Shaker Wolf, I don't know, some of you may recognize the name, former Mixer partner who is switching over to Twitch. I have streamed with her a number of times over the years. I used to hang out in her channel. She used to hang out with us over on Mixer, and now she's come over to the dark side with the rest of us, and she dropped a follow on us yesterday as well. So if you get a chance, check out Shaker Wolfie. She's an awesome streamer. Does a lot of Dead by Daylight, Rainbow Six, Call of Duty, real variety streamer, does a lot of stuff. So definitely go check her out if you can. But we'll be right back. All right, chat, I'm back. Just Nutty's making me a coffee. I've tinkled in the outhouse. Holy crap!
I was
Got
trying to-
shit. I can
In
tangle
my
up.
mind, I was trying to figure out how the elf and the dragonborn are getting this on. Like, she's got soft skin, right? He's got hard scales. She's going to be getting like grated, like a cheese grater for sure.
Who knows how they do? I mean, I don't really want to think about it, to be honest. You still didn't put in the right freaking link, Nutty. No, you haven't put it in. My chat still says up. I haven't gone offline at all. That's better. So second link, guys, to Shaker's channel, not the first link. But we're back. So yeah, interesting start. I can probably safely tell you that in the original Tomb of Horrors, in the actual module, that particular orifice that Inari stuck her arm in was a sphere of annihilation. Just to read it out, it is 3 feet in diameter, plenty of room for those who wish to leap in, and be completely and forever destroyed. It is insta death in the original Tomb
That's
of
what it
Horrors.
should have been. She could have been Maris and Inari out, 2 down.
The thing is, I changed that before I even did this. I mean, it wasn't like it's something I was changing on the fly. I'd made these changes to the tomb to suit what I wanted weeks ago. So it's like,
God.
it could have been interesting.
That he just goes and sticks her hand in.
Actually, I think Nutty's playing another character because that's not.
That's not normally. That's not what Inari would do. I mean, that's why I questioned it.
Raya.
Yeah, that was a rare moment for sure.
That was that purple tiefling sorcerer doing
She's
that.
forgetting who her characters are a little bit, I think, in the crossover, because yeah, Inari being a member of the Enclave and with her militaristic background probably would not have stuck her arm in something like that.
Well,
But it happened, so it kind of,
to be fair,
it's canon now.
to be fair,
God damn it!
she has been let go from the Enclave.
That doesn't mean
So
anything. She's still got the skills.
I still have the training.
She's a bit reckless at the moment. Okay, she's got freedom of will, kind of.
Got a wild hair up her butt.
I mean, I would have expected Alessandras to stick her arm in that kind of hole, but
Yeah, no, just no. I was expecting your fireball to come out or something.
well, that's the impression I think it's supposed to give. I mean, a giant O in the mouth of a big green devil face. I mean, I think that's the impression it's supposed to give, is to make you think that it's like a fireball trap or some form of spell trap.
That's why I stuck with the red part. That didn't work out too well.
No, it didn't. Because this Tomb of Horrors is not the same as the other Tomb of Horrors, and
I have never read it.
and not only that, I'm not your typical puzzle dude, and I'm not going to put everything where it obviously is.
Yeah, we worked that out.
Hey Chatsy, thank you for the follow yesterday, dude. Appreciate it very much. We're just having a quick break. If anyone's got any questions while we're having a small break, I've got another couple of minutes before we get back into it. Feel free to ask any questions about the DM, about the players, about the story, where we're at. Definitely feel free to speak up now while we're taking a few minutes out of character.
I don't think I've been in character the entire freaking game. So
No, I think Inari sort of have lost herself a little bit. I think Inari needs to find herself.
She's been set free from her duties. I mean, come on.
No, I think I was channeling my inner Raya.
Definitely.
You now?
That's her tiefling, her slightly psychotic tiefling sorcerer from our home game. She has an affinity to fireballs, and she likes to fireball herself and her party.
And baths. She likes baths.
And they both like baths. God.
Has she been watching that D&D spin-off thing on YouTube?
Is that that comedy skits thing they do?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like
That's
fire.
so good.
Yeah, so
Very
she's
similar.
there's a lot of similarities there, I tell you. So we have no questions from the chat. Team, are we ready? Is everyone back?
Yep.
Ready to go to the chest.
Right, so you head... Alexandros has
broken.
called for no light. And has has asked for no light and standing at the chest. So I'll bring that picture back up for you just so everyone can see this. So chat, this is what Alexandros is standing in front of. There's enough light from the opening of the cavern that you could probably see this relatively clearly. Anyway, it's like right towards the front of this hall. So that is what you're looking at, Alexandros. You have the two jackal-headed figures reaching out, looks like they're holding this bronze chest. And it is protruding from the wall in front of you.
So now that it's dark, do you see anything, Allie?
Am I okay, DM? Am I seeing anything? Like, I'll do investigation and see if I can see anything different now that all the lights are
What are
on.
you specifically looking for? I mean, saying, can I see anything? I mean, yeah, you can see a wall with painted figure on it and a chest.
Going by the riddle, shun of green if you can, but night's good colour for those of great valour. So just looking for any obscurities or anything glowing, really, I guess.
Roll investigation.
DM,
What?
with me having to go to half hit points, I'm now unconscious.
What?
I'm unconscious.
How are you unconscious? You had 20 hit points.
No. Then you took half of my hit points. And
I
the
did
amount
not
of
take half of your hit points.
Well, you took 20 off my hit
I
points.
took 20 off your maximum. You're not unconscious. You still have 20 hit points.
Well, according to this, it reckons I'm unconscious.
Well, then you did something wrong.
Once the lights go on, I'd like to do
8.
a medicine check on Inari.
Give me 1 second. I have to
Since I
fix
heard
her
her scream.
shit because she's broken it. Be right back.
No.
We're currently in black. Is your thoughts, Ellie? Is the corridor might change in the darkness?
Yes.
I
What were
thought-
your thoughts?
I thought maybe the colors were on the door with the colors.
We're good.
Maybe
Sorry,
the blue
fixed it.
was the night.
You took her 20 maximum hit points off her hit points instead of her maximum. So she reduced herself to unconsciousness. She's not unconscious. But with an 8, you see nothing weird. There's a bronze chest. It looks like it's sort of set back in this little alcove thing. You try and move it, doesn't move. On a little platform.
I'm not trying to move it. I haven't touched it yet.
Well, then you
I'm
can't
gonna
investigate it if you can't touch it. Be a perception
check.
roll.
Well, then,
Same. If you roll a perception, it'd be the same thing. You don't really see anything weird.
Okay. And it was in general just looking for anything glowing around the area.
You don't see anything.
Of course, with an 8. Okay, you can put the lights back on, everybody.
And Fiona, you wanted to do a medicine check on Inari?
Yeah, I heard
Or
her
what
screaming,
specifically?
but I didn't. Well, I heard her screaming, but I didn't see what happened, and she doesn't seem to be bleeding. So I just wanted to give her a look over.
I mean, you could ask her. She'll tell you what's
How
hurt.
you feeling, Inari?
I'm sore and my shoulder's stuffed because it popped out, so I had to pop it back in. So it's not going to be okay.
And don't forget to not release your button too early.
Oh,
Sorry.
sorry.
Cure wound 2nd level on Inari.
Cure wounds 2nd level. Alrighty then.
She'll get 12.
You will get 12 hit points back, and your shoulder is feeling a lot better. You still don't think you're going to be able to draw a bow well with it, but it's functional.
Fiela, in a place like this, we should probably work between ourselves on heals. Try not to use up all your slots because you are better at the fighting side of things than I am.
Hopefully everybody's got potions.
With a bit of luck, I agree.
All right, I'm going to check the traps on this damn chest.
Roll an investigation.
I find no traps.
What was your roll?
11.
11. With that roll, you examine the chest a little bit more closely. You note that it's hinged on the bottom, so it kind of as to allow the lid to swing down. If the catch is like a little catch on the top is released, it looks like the bottom of this, the top of the chest doesn't open. The bottom, like it swings down. It looks like almost like a press button, and it'll open the bottom of this chest. That's pretty much all you see at this point. You don't really, it doesn't look trapped to you at all. Looks pretty safe.
You're at the entrance, Yale.
You're about 20 feet away.
Oh. Wait, is that good or bad?
Well, it's up to you. Sadiq's at the other end still, so we'll just switch to him just for a moment. So Sadiq, you're still at the other end. You're still standing down by the big face. In front of you is still this archway with the keystones, orange, yellow, and blue, and the room on the other side of that arch is filled with some form of vapor, which is kind of a sickly orangey greeny color. You can't see into the room past the vapor. It's quite thick. What are you doing?
Standing there waiting for the others to finish doing whatever the hell they're doing down there.
Fair call, fair call. So, team, what are we doing?
Hitch is reading his notes and he says, I think I'm piecing this together. Go back to the Tormentor or through the arch, and the second great hole you'll discover. So, the arch, that is where Sadiq, that is, you have an arch in front of you, right?
Yeah, but I don't think he should. These keys and those are most important for all. And beware trembling hands that will maul, so I wouldn't go through it.
Correct, but it makes a point. Shun green if you can. Well, our little friend, Naked Denari over here, she's hopefully put on my clothes.
Yes, she
She
has.
did not shun green, that giant green head. She stuck her arm in its maw, and she got smoked. Well, she got naked. I don't know. Is that the... we could give it a name. The head of nakedness or something. Nonetheless, she appeared here naked. So, shun green, it makes sense, right? Go back to the Tormentor, which I think is this chest, or through the arch in the second great hole you'll discover. So, somehow, I think this chest or the archway is going to take us to the same place.
I pushed the button.
You push the button?
Yes.
You sure?
Yes.
I think Inari's shit's in that chest.
So, Alessandros, with the talking backwards and forwards, you get a little impatient and you press the button on top of the chest. Almost immediately you feel intense pain in your finger
Oh god.
as a 3-inch needle
Ow!
pierces your through your finger, dealing 5 points of piercing damage, and
It's gonna hurt you, though.
and 11 points of poison damage, and you feel that wave of nausea hit you once again. And almost immediately, as the bottom of the chest drops open, the wall in front of you and drops back about an inch and a half, and then swings open, leading into a darkened corridor. But
Yes,
at the
heck,
same
that's right.
time, the floor beneath you drops
Oh god.
a third of an inch, tilts slightly, and then drops out from underneath you. And once again, you drop into a 30-foot pit. Featherfall saving you from bludgeoning damage, but you this time again, God, trash man. You take another 17 points of piercing damage, as this time one of the spikes impales through your wrist, doing a further 26 points of poison damage.
Mm-hmm.
Ellie, are you okay?
I'm not saying nothing.
Are you unconscious?
Yep.
Oh crap!
Oh, guys. I
So
think she's
with
not-
with that, you hear a sickening sort of squelch-ish as Alessandros is impaled, and with your cry out, Fiala, you hear nothing.
Okay. Hit. Hit quickly brings his loot up and casts. What the crap does he cast? No, he doesn't. He doesn't use his loot. He just uses cleric symbol, and he says, "Oh, steel lady, help this fool," and casts a healing word at first level.
Have you walked forward to where Alessandros is? Or are you just casting it from where you are?
No, casting it from where I am. It's just a healing word, so just line of sight.
Okay.
So that is 13. I'll tell a lie. I looked at the wrong dice. 4, 5, 6 points of healing.
So Alessandros, you come to consciousness
so-
suddenly.
Just a question. So that's line of sight, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. Yes. If you don't have line of sight, then yeah, you'll need to walk up to the pit.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was standing like 10 foot away from Ellie by the other painting on the wall. So
You
I
probably wouldn't be able to
take a step
see
forward,
her.
then
Yeah,
yes.
you'd have to see her. So yeah, that's fine. Yeah, but you sort of look down and think, oh shit, and you see that she's lying sort of in between the spikes, but one hand is sort of held up, and there's a large sharpened wooden spike, probably protruding 4 or 5 inches through her wrist, holding her arm up like this, blood running down her arm. So you cast your spell. Her eyes sort of flicker open for a moment, and Alessandros, with that intense pain, is now running through your right arm as you look up and see yourself impaled on this wooden spike.
Shut
I
up,
think we might
Frax.
need your rope.
Yeah, I come
So
over.
with that, I slide my wrist off with great difficulty, I guess.
Strength check for me. With disadvantage because you're at low hit points.
Four.
Yeah, you can't seem to remove yourself from the spike. You're too weakened from the poison that is coursing through your body. You're not 100% aware of it, but you just feel so weak, and you put it down to the fact you're just really damaged.
So before I lower the rope down, I'm gonna make like a loop on it so that
Okay.
Allie can loop her
Yeah, well,
over
you
and
can
we
see that
pull
she's
up.
hurt and probably not able to lift her own weight at this point. So, with your experience, you make almost like a fireman's loop on the end of the rope. You lower it down.
So, how much did you heal me again,
6.
Pet?
Yeah, 6.
So you put your good arm through the loop and you sort of put it over your head, and that would take probably a couple of you to lift her up. But I dare say, Hit, you'd definitely give Sadiq a hand. No need to roll for that. So you both sort of pull her up, and a bit of resistance comes as you get to that her arm comes up, and then it's still impaled on the spike. So you give it a bit of a tug, and it releases her arm from the spike.
Ow!
With extreme pain and another 2 points of damage as the blood starts to run quite profusely from this open wound. But you do manage to get it to the top of the pit, which is still open at this point.
As soon as she's at the top of the pit, Hit bends down and he says, "My goodness, Ellie, you are not handling this so well. Must be careful. Must be far more careful." And he grabs his loot and he says, "Everyone seems to need the cure." And he touches her and casts Cure Wounds as well at first level.
And with that, you watch the wound in her wrist slowly knit together, stopping the bleeding. And how much health does it give her?
That is 10 health.
And so 10
Can I
HP for
go
you.
home now?
Can we just go back to the bloody guild or wherever we were before, the inn, and rest up and come back?
Took your finger off the button too early.
I just want to go home now.
The last word was tomorrow.
We've already taken the wheels off the wagon. Let's just keep going.
Yes, we just need to be a bit more insightful about what we are doing. Pushing buttons and running forward and putting your arms in things does not seem to be safe.
I checked it for traps. I didn't find anything.
Just a thought, guys. I can wild shape, and if you need somebody to check something, and if my wild shape dies, I'll just revert back to myself. If that helps.
Or maybe we get Kellic to push buttons or something. It is
true.
much. He won't die. It will hurt him and it will suck for him a lot. But in general, I can just bring him back. He will probably hate me after some time.
Does anybody have a bow and some arrows I could use, please?
I will check my pack, but I think it is highly unlikely if I
I
have a bow.
pass Inari my bow and the arrows.
How many arrows do you pass to her?
How many do I have? I have 40.
Inari has no backpack. I would say that you probably have a quiver that you'd better give to her. I mean, I would say, yeah, I'd say you better take the 40 arrows and a quiver and the bow. So what bow is it, Crash?
It's a +1.
A +1 long bow or short bow?
Long.
Okay, so +1 just add just make a note. I mean, don't change what you've got on your character at this point. Just make a note that you're now using a +1 longbow, and you just mark your arrows off as normal, as the arrows that Trash has given you is 40.
Yep.
And if
I've
I
got
remember
that.
right, she should be very familiar with that bow because it was her old
That's
bow.
right.
That is correct.
It was. So it's got the same stats.
Just
as
be
the I've got at the
aware
moment.
too, guys, when you are firing your bows to mark off your arrows as you use.
I will, because the longbow has the same stats as the vicious longbow that I'm currently
Yeah, you just don't use the modifiers.
I just won't use the modifiers.
Yeah, that's right. Just use the rolled hit will be the same.
Yeah.
Just won't use that extra damage that it gets.
If it crits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's fine.
Okay.
So now before you, the pit is still open. It hasn't closed like the other ones did. It remains open. It's 5 foot by 5 foot, but directly across from the pit is now an open doorway leading into looks like a 10 foot by 10 foot square room. Actually, I lie. A 20 foot by 10 foot corridor with a door at the end.
Just before we move on, Inari, Ellie, do you guys have a potion you could each take to get yourselves a little more up to speed?
I smile sweetly at Het and say, you have to give me clothes, and Ellie's just given me a bow. I have no
Het hands Inari a potion of healing.
Did those clothes include shoes, by the way?
It just says clothing. It doesn't actually.
Okay, so Inari, you're bare feet as well. You're barefoot.
Marvelous.
So just be aware of that.
Okay, be careful.
I'll take a potion of greater healing.
Okay, so this one you bought, so it'll do maximum.
And that's 1d4 plus 4.
For a standard, it is 2d4 plus 2.
And that was a bought one, so it's full anyway.
That'll be full, so it'll be 10 points of healing. For a greater, I'm pretty sure a greater is 44 plus 4, so that'll be 20.
With the cure wounds, did that do anything to my hit?
Your maximum hit points will remain as they are for the time being.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah. So, you are all still sort of standing out in this corridor. Fiela and Inari towards the entrance. Sadiq has moved his way back from the other end of the corridor towards you guys. Het, Sadiq, and just on the opposite side of the pitfall. What are you guys doing?
Like to head into the room.
But there's a pitfall.
Head grabs her shoulder and
You
says,
can
"Wait,
jump across it, fine.
yeah, let's check the floor before you roll into there. We don't want a repeat of this." Head begins investigating the next tile as he sort of reaches across the pit that.
Roll investigation, dude.
A natural fucking 1.
And that one critical fail as Het looks
Melt
around the room
Die.
and everything looks pretty cool. Looks normal. Floor looks good. Walls look good. Just looks. It's a small hall, 10 feet long. 20 feet long. Sorry, 10 feet wide. And
Sweet team, this looks awesome. And Het steps on the first stone.
It's dim. Like it's just with the light coming from the store. There's no light in there, but you definitely are confident, and you step forward.
Light coming from my sword.
And from your sword as well. So you step forward. What's the marching order up behind Het? As Het steps in and nothing happens.
Yeah, I'll go next.
Alessandros.
In the middle.
Have Sadiq and Gayla and Ari bringing up the rear.
Yeah, Inari limps at the back.
You don't limp, it's your arm that's hurt, not your legs.
She's still feeling very shamed and sorry for herself.
As you should. So you walk forward, and you're now all standing in a simple hallway. It's 20 feet long, 10 feet wide. At the other end is just a simple door, wooden door with iron strapping on it, just like any other wooden door you've set in a concrete frame, or tight, like almost like a brick frame. It's not as ornate as the hall you just came from, but it's definitely well built, carved. It's been carved and looks like it's been plastered with that same smooth stone, but the stuff isn't painted. It's just almost like a dull cream sort of color.
Check the surrounding area, like immediate area for traps.
From where you are, you're right behind Het. Yeah, I'll let you do that. So roll investigation. Sort of squeeze around, sort of move around Het and sort of check the area. Do you want to check the door as well, or just the area you're immediately in?
Immediately, and I don't find anything.
What'd you roll?
8.
Yeah, no, as far as you're aware, everything's cool. It looks normal.
Het summons Kellic in imp form and says, "Kellic, I want you to bounce on every part of this area you can see. Basically, every 5-foot section, he's just going to bounce.
And you
Fly up
guys
and
see
drop
just
down,
that.
Fly up and drop down.
You see just that. The little white imp comes out and flaps his little wings, and he gets about sort of 2 feet above the ground, then drops with all his weight, and does that on every sort of cobblestone on the floor. Nothing happens.
Good, Kellic. Now fly up and just stay above for now. Have a look around the roof and walls.
Can you get Keller to check the door, please?
Kellic, check the door, please.
What is Killick checking the door for?
He's going to get the instruction telepathically from Het will be check the door for any sort of trap mechanism.
So roll investigation using Killick's stats.
Oh, this could be good. Sorry, just putting up case sheet. So that is a 15.
15?
Sorry, 16.
16. Right, so Killick sort of walks around the bottom of the door, looking at the sort of the bottom of the door, and then sort of flutters up and around the frame, comes back to the door handle, which is like just a big iron ring, which looks like you could possibly turn or pull or whatever. Sort of gives it a bit of a tug and a turn, and sort of looks at it, and comes back and tells you that everything looks fine.
So, guys, Skillick says it all looks pretty good.
Can Kellic open the door?
Is there a handle on the door, DM?
There is a handle on the door.
It says, Killick, can you please open the door carefully? Killick flies forward and opens the door carefully.
Opens the door carefully. Ching, ching. You hear this sort of almost. He turns it to the left, and it's almost like it's lifting, like one of the like a wooden bar. You sort of hear wood on wood scrape as he lifts it, and you hear as the door sort of squeaks open on its iron hinge. And what you then are faced with as you step forward, ladies and gentlemen, is this room. At the very north end of this room, which is at the top, is who's walking in first, by the way?
Killick is just looking.
Just looking?
And I am looking through. I'm going to look through his eyes.
So no one's actually stepped in. Just
nope.
Just Killick. He's flying or walking.
He is flying at this point.
And you're looking through his eyes.
Correct. I just done it. I sat down on the floor right where I am.
Okay,
my eyes are glazed over. Hit's
eyes roll over completely white. Like his eyes are quite pale anyway, but they literally roll back in his head and go over a milky white. And Hit, you are now blind and deaf at this point. What you see and hear is what Killick sees and hears. As Killick flutters forward into this room, you flutters forward and you see a 60 foot by 20 foot room. At the southern end of this room, there are two more doors, just in sort of the corner of the room. So as you sort of move in and immediately turn left, there are two doors pretty much right next to each other. As he sort of scans the room, which is pretty much walls and ceilings look exactly the same as the hall you're now standing in, he turns, and on the southern wall is a large winged gargoyle, 4 large arms sort of reaching out in front, claws out in a quite a menacing pose, but unmoving and seemingly a statue. It looks very much like a statue from where he is at this point.
Hit telepathically commands Killick to bounce on all the cobblestones on the floors again.
And he does just that, and with you're hearing and watching, you hear him hit the floor and flutter up, and hit the floor and flutter up, and nothing changes within the room.
Hit relays that what he is doing to the team as he is doing it, so even though he can't see or hear, he is telling them. And he tells them of the gargoyle as well.
And it's a gargoyle that you've never seen before. You've seen a few gargoyles in your time. You've seen gargoyles on the Temple of the Steel Lady, and normally gargoyles are a being that denote protection. Yet this one has 4 arms, where other gargoyles generally only have 2. And it's standing upright and a really menacing pose. But it's the thing that stands out the most to you is the 4 large arms.
Takes me back to that great 90s television show on Disney Plus.
And with that, Killick finishes going around the room, and I say nothing changes within the room.
With that, Hit retreats back to himself, and he relays everything to the team anyway.
I wonder if that's the trembling hands and things that maul the gargoyle, maybe.
Possibly. Who wants to check?
Not you. You've done taken enough damage for one day.
DM, the door we come through is the one to the right-hand side of the map, right?
It is correct. So yes. So this is the door that you guys is now open and you are standing at, and these are the two doors that Killick has seen at the bottom of the map.
I've left Click in there. He's fluttering around the room, well, maybe sort of hovering in space.
Okay, cool. I don't have a mini for him. I have to find one. I've got one somewhere. I've got an imp one I can use potentially. Actually,
I have a few I can give you if you need.
oh no, I've got a pseudo dragon and stuff as well, which I can use.
Just off character here. Drax, you can go in first.
I have found the perfect little thing. It's not white, but it'll do. I don't know.
Color doesn't matter. We're not racist here.
Most of you guys probably won't even be able to see that on camera, but we have a little impy type thing. So, with that, what are you doing, team? What are we doing?
Ali, if you're out of plans, Sadiq, would you like to head in first, or would you like me to go in?
How many keystones were there?
3. Well, 1 keystone, but 2. There was 1 keystone. The keystone was at the top, and there was just 2 other stones on either side of the door, left and right.
So there's 3.
There was 3 glowing stones. Yep.
Head is thinking too. The gargoyle stone statue or something does not seem to fit anything in the quiz or the puzzle type wording that we've been given. It's not an Iron Man. Keystone, maybe because he's made of stone, he's got something to do with the keystones. Did Het see anything with Kelek that maybe stones could go into on the gargoyle?
No. Oh, actually, around the creature's neck, actually, probably would have. With that check, it is a studded collar with 10 gems.
So Het says
in it.
This gargoyle is very
no.
goth. It's a goth gargoyle. It is a studded collar with 10 gems around it.
No, it's studded with 10 gems. It's not studded. It's got 10 gems that are sort of set in this sort of collar that's got around its neck.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What kind of gems?
No,
any in particular color to the gem?
Blue. Had a blue
Henry.
hue. Had a blue hue to them.
Night, the color of night. Well, night's black or is night blue?
Night's kind of midnight blue.
Het, be careful. We will overthink this.
Well,
the gems
somebody's
sound-
got to go in.
That's right. The gems sound fun. Maybe Het takes 1 step into the room.
It takes 1 step into the room.
Het does. He just walks just through the doorway.
And as you step through the doorway, you set foot one foot first, then the other. Look around a little bit. Nothing really happens. So you're standing pretty much on that first flagstone now, and
Correct.
nothing really happens at this point.
All right. The doorway just inside the room is safe. Should I walk 1 more, team?
Maybe
Go for
hug
it.
the wall.
Say that again. Sorry, Fiala.
Maybe kind of get close to the wall just in case.
Het heads hugging the wall to the north flagstone. The northernmost flagstone, like turning the corner north, basically.
The moment you step past that first line that you see there, and pretty much the arch, the threshold of the room, if you will, you hear the grinding of stone as the gargoyle's head turns. Its eyes open and blaze a brilliant red, and then its mouth sort of curls and bears very large, sharp teeth. And that is where we're going to call tonight's session, ladies and gentlemen.
Bastard.
We're only 10 minutes away, so I'm not going to get into any combat tonight. Next week, we may not be having a show next week, just to let everyone know. I am having all of my teeth removed on Monday, on the 8th. So potentially, actually no, we will be having one this week. Sorry, I'm a week ahead of myself.
You're a week ahead of yourself, love.
There will be one next week. One the week after. On the 8th, I'm having my teeth out, so the one after we may not be having. But like I said, just keep an eye on the Discord and keep an eye on the Twitter, because I will announce whether we are or not having that show. Based on that, obviously the same week will be the same for the Curse of Strahd campaign. So definitely keep an eye on for that. But thank you once again to my players. You guys have done exceptionally well tonight. Didn't kill anything, so I don't know if we should give in. I don't know if we should give them any XP, guys. What do you reckon?
I think you should give us XP for fucking nearly killing.
I think I should. I think I should give Inari minus XP for doing dumb shit things.
For the ingenuity of the wagon, we should get XP.
So chat. Come on, chat. Anyone that's not in the party, do we give them XP tonight or not? Do we say yay or nay? Give 2 of the party falling damage. Drax.
Can go off some people, Drax.
Blue Jay says yes. Gung Ho says yes. XP for all. All right, guys, we'll give some XP. So, who wants to roll a D20 for me? Who did it last week?
Not me.
You did it the first
I
week and
went last
failed,
week.
and Sadiq went last week. So let's say Hit roll a D20 for us.
Now's the time to get that nat 20, man.
All right, Hit's rolling his favorite dice for this one. Okay, that's a 12.
A 1200 XP, guys.
Whoop, whoop.
So 1200 XP each for the entry into the Tomb of Horrors. You almost lost one of you, or almost lost 2 of you right at the very start. You hadn't even gotten in the tomb yet. Because technically you are now in the tomb. That entranceway is not actually the entry into the tomb. It's just sort of the foyer, if you will. But well done, guys. Awesome roleplay. Awesome gameplay. It's decision making. The poem, if you will, or the puzzle text is in the Discord. Read over it, study it if you wish. It's there for you guys. Cass is sitting there watching on CCTV thinking, seriously, what the fuck? Possible. It is entirely possible that he's scrying on them right now thinking, oh my god, these guys are fucking up my shit. With that, we need to find someone to raid, I guess. So who...
The lost chaps are still going.
They would have... Oh, and they go back to a full team too. So we might as well keep raiding the Lost Chapters. These guys are cool dudes. They come and visit us on occasion. Looks like they've rejoined their party. So it looks like Zrix and Adok have rejoined the others. Like a team of Mr. Beans. So with that, ladies and gents, we will say adieu. And we will raid the Lost Chapters. Again, thank you very much. Keep an eye on the Twitter Discord for any announcements about when what's happening with the next few shows. As I said, next week we'll be doing next week's show. The one after will be a play by ear, depending on how I feel, and recovery time and all that after having all my toothy pegs out. And have a new flash, new dentures put in. So I'm actually looking forward to that. Once that pain is obviously healed, I will no longer have the constant pain that I suffer every day with having crappy teeth.
I didn't realise you were getting rid of me.
Oh shit, I wasn't supposed to tell you. Damn it.
Damn.
There is a new streamer on playing GTA. He's a singer for Obsidian Curse. Oh really? Cool. I actually like Obsidian's Curse. Pretty cool. Anywho, we're going to say goodbye, and keep an eye on the Twitch channel too, guys. So this is solely D&D content from now on, as I said at the start of the show. So I am working closely with Mr. Malice on some new graphics for the alerts, which we won't have any audio alerts, obviously, to keep immersion for the campaigns and stuff. We'll probably turn the audio alerts on when I'm doing a just chatting or something like that, but we're going to be looking at some updated graphics for the alerts, probably an updated BRB and stream ending scenes. The intros will stay the same. I like the intros as they are, but that'll definitely look at changing. No logos will change. Logo's going to remain the same. The horror heavy metal video games t-shirt design or merch design, we're going to take off the merch store in the coming weeks. But we'll come back from time to time, but I am going to replace that with a more D&D orientated design specifically for the channel at some point as well. So I'm working with Malice on that as well. So that's probably going to take it may be a couple of months before we get anything sort of solidified and back in place, but keep an eye out for that. In the meantime, if you do want merch, exclamation point merch in the chat, go check out the merch store. As I said, the horror, heavy metal and video games merch is going to be removed for a time. It's going to become a limited run. We're going to pop it up every now and again at maybe a reduced rate. I'm going to reduce my commission on it so we can, if you guys want to, you'll be able to get a bit of a small discount. Definitely go check that out. If you haven't already bought merch, as I said, we've got coffee mugs, which I have, the Evldoa coffee mug. We got coasters, which I myself have, and Baz has a whole bunch of these as well. I've got some other stuff that we're going to be getting eventually as well. Shower curtains, bath mats, socks, bed spreads, all that sort of shit. So definitely look forward to that. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Stay safe. Stay at home. Well, actually, don't have to do that anymore, do we? We're in level 2. We don't have to stay at home. Go out and wreak havoc. No, kidding. Stay safe, everyone. We'll catch you next time.
Bye.